some of the schools we work with have no music programs at all. I mean, the students we're working with, you know, sadly, one of the schools, Red Valley Cove, it's a high school. There are 27 students in the high school, the entire high school. You know, 9, 10, 11, 12th grade, 27 students. It's extreme. You cannot imagine how, when I say rural and underserved some of these schools are. I mean, hours and hours of driving, you know, across the reservation, over the mountains, you know, and then you come to the incredibly beautiful Red Valley and this tiny little high school that's doing wonderful work, but they don't have a music program. And so the students are really starting from square one. I mean, imagine you've never had a music program, any kind of music education, and someone comes in and says, you're going to write a string quartet. You know, and your first question is, what's a string quartet?
One thing that's evolved out of this program is a very wide interpretation of vibrato. So I think that's a cultural thing that has come out in which the students are trying to replicate the voice. So I let them know that the string players are going to automatically add vibrato into the work, but that a lot of times we have a student say, well, I wanted a very wide vibrato or a very slow vibrato or a very fast vibrato. So a lot of times we have students really use that technique to get across a certain sound that they want. Almost like, like you would hear in a voice or, a Navajo singing or Hopi singing, where you have this, this vibrato that might begin one way and end in another way.
I'm very curious about the vibratos. The way you want them done. If we're not doing them right, you could sing them to us and kind of imitate them.
So, one thing about this program is when there's extra wavy lines within, right next to the note, alongside the note, that indicates just a more exaggerated vibrato than normal. Yeah, exactly. And sometimes Sibelius would put a very thick one and then a wider vibrato.
Scared viola, measure 49. It's a slur all the way.
So staccato is 43?
The entire measure.
Yeah. That's pretty much it.
Actually, I have a question about 67. The way you have this, the way this is marked, because he wants the vibrato on this. I'm not sure how. Because you have this broken into eighth notes. You want something along those lines at the very last one, or do you want? You want something like that?
Yeah, that one.
Okay, so I'll take the line. I'll take the line
Just
over.
he's just vibrating on this last pass.
The entire half note is vibrating. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I like it. Nice.
Well, the piece I wrote is called "It's Just the Beginning." It's dedicated to my senior class and also to two of our seniors, classmates that passed away. I just wrote down what I felt towards them, and as a class, I wanted to be dedicated towards my senior class.
My piece is called "I Don't Know." This was my first year, and I just stared at the page for like a day trying to figure out what to write. I didn't have an inspiration or anything, and I just noticed that this is probably how every musician feels like when they're writing their own piece. They don't know what to write about. It actually felt great because knowing something that I just wrote that didn't even make sense in my head actually came together.
I like writing music. It's really fun, and it's really fun when people actually get to hear it too. like when my school heard it, they're like just really shocked because I get teased a lot about being Chinese and stuff. So when I made this piece, they were like really amazed and like, "Are you really Chinese?" And I was like, "No." And my teacher, he gave me this feedback. He's like, "It really did sound like an erhu piece." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "That's so cool." It's like that's what I was aiming for. That was my goal. And like a lot of people were just telling me they liked my piece. So that just what made me really happy. So I know that I accomplished it.
I think music education is important. I noticed that a lot of the top achieving students in the school are involved in the arts and involved in music specifically, and we want our students to not just be able to pass some tests someday, that we want them to have productive, meaningful, full lives. And I think, you know, most people that I know that I've run into that don't play a musical instrument or that never got a chance to learn how to create music like this, they regret it, you know. And I don't want any of my students to grow up and be like, "Man, I wish I had learned how to play an instrument." So I push that, and I want students to be able to create music, be able to learn how to let that emotional side of themselves out and create something that's unique and original. And a lot of them find that helps them to be more bold and creative in the rest of their life, and be able to reason more abstractly, and all these great things that come from music that are easier to, I think, develop in a music setting, that make them that much more successful everywhere else too. So it's definitely a good thing.
So they really are coming at it, some of the students, from a very basic level. And it's so inspiring to us to see how eagerly, how beautifully they tackle it. One of the reasons we started it was because we felt there aren't enough Native American voices in the American music mix. We really need to hear more of these voices, and we need to empower the students and let them know that we want to hear their voices, and their voices need to be heard.
It's important for me to come back every year and teach. I'm from this community, and so I think it's important for me to give back to this community and share what I've learned outside of the reservation and bring that back to students here. What the Native American Composers Apprenticeship Project provides is an opportunity that I didn't have. So I think it's great that it exists, and I'm able to do this and come out. So that motivates me to continue every year.